Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Rio Ajun Ilham, which student number is D1A02310069. Guys, did you know about customary marriage law and customary inheritance law? If you don't know, I want to talk about it. Check it out. When you are at work, you hear the pot ringing. Then, when you see it, it's from your mother, and you pick it up. Your mom asks you when you are getting married. After finishing work, you think about what your mom talked about, but you don't know about customary marriage in your area. You start to search about it, and after you see it, it turns out that customary marriage is very important because this marriage not only unites you but both parents, family, and even the ancestor. You also find an expert opinion according to Hazairin that marriage is a series of magical action which aims to ensure tranquility, happiness, and fertility. In addition, marriage is a rites depaciate ceremony of transition of the bride and groom status. The transition itself consists of the three stages, namely rites the separation, rites the merger, and rites the aggregation. After you go deep into it, it turns out that customary law marriage has a system, namely the endogamy system, where people are allowed to marry only from their tribe, such as in Toraja, but nowadays this has decreased, and there are the exogamy system, where people are required to marry people outside their family tribe, such as in Gayo, Alas, Tapanuli, Minangkabau, South Sumatra, and finally there is Eleuterogamy system. This system does not recognize restrictions such as endogamy and exogamy. The prohibition contained in this system is related to family ties, namely because nasab or close descendants, and musyaharah or pariparan. In addition, you also know that there is a principle in customary marriage in which the purpose of marriage is to form a household, family, and kinship relationship that are harmonious, peaceful, lasting, and happy. In addition, marriage must be not only be valid according to the laws of religions and or belief, but must also recognized from member of the family. Marriage can be entered into by a man with several women as wives, whose respective positions are determined according to local customary law. Marriage must be based on consent of parents and relatives. The other community can reject the position of a husband or wife who is not recognized by the other community. Marriage can be entered into by men and women who are not of legal age. Similarly, even if they are of legal, marriage must be based on the consent of parents, family, and relatives. Some divorces are permissible and some are not. Divorce between husband and wife can result in the rupture of kinship relationship between the two parties. The balance of position between husband and wife is based on the position of applicable customary law. There are wives who are housewife. There are also wives who are not housewife. After you discuss it with your friend, it turns out that there are restrictions on customary marriage. Consanguinity is prohibited. If you look at Batak customary law, where kinship relationships are asymmetrical, marriage between a man and woman who share the same clan is prohibited. In Minangkabau too, men and women who are of the same tribe are prohibited from marrying. Violators of this prohibited are punished with customary fines and the slaughter of the livestock in order to avoid the curse of supernatural spirit. In addition, there are differences in position. This applies in some areas. For example, is Bali, where men from the Triwarna or Triwangsa group, Brahmin, Kshatriya, and Vaidya are prohibited from marrying women from the Sudra or commoner group, and vice versa. Also in Minangkabau, a woman from the Penghulu group is not allowed to marry an ordinary man. In the present time, it seems that difference in the position of nobility have begun to fight. Because the nature of customary law is flexible and open, there is no closed door for settlement. After you learn about marriage, you suddenly wonder what happens to your car, money, and house. This also becomes your question: how about inheritance law applies? You start to find out more about inheritance in customary law, and you find the fact that in the event that you're looking for a company that can provide you with the very best service, then you are come to the right place. You also see opinion of experts on internet are supposed that customary inheritance law contains regulation governing the process of possessing property goods and intangible goods immutable golden from a human generation to its descendant. In addition, Irfan said that customary inheritance law contains a legal rules governing the transfer of property like good property from generation to generation. It turns out that there are also rules on inheritance in customary law, which is enacted of the basic of Article 2AP of the 1945 Constitution, which applies in Burgalik Wetwood inheritance law, Islamic inheritance law, and customary inheritance law. According to PEM, this due to pluralism, but law and society have a functional relationship. If society changes, the law will also change. This is because the development of political classification of the people transferred from the Dutch is in this law. Gradually change in line with change in legal political with the issuance of new laws. There are unifications of law, marriage, and religion courts. After that, you see that there will be a seminar of customary inheritance law. After you come, you hear that there are several system inheritance, namely the individual inheritance system, where each heirs get a share to be able to control or own according to his share. There are also collective inheritance system, when the inheritance is not divided in the inheritance will be forwarded and transferred ownership from the heir, but each heir has the right to cultivate, get the result, or use the inheritance. And the last one is majority inheritance system, where the forwarding and transfer or control right over individual property is given and delegated to the eldest child in the household of the father and mother, in chance of replacing the father or mother as head of the family. You also hear the existence of groups in customary inheritance, where patrilineal withdraw lineage from the father, so that it's dominant from man. Then there is matrilineal withdraw lineage from the mother, so that is dominant from woman. And finally, there is a parental, where everything is considered equal, there is no dominant. In addition, customary law also has characteristics that have been identified, some of which are legitimate property, where the absolute share of the heirs and been determined according to the applicable rules. Inheritance property, according to customary inheritance law, is not a unit that can be valued, but is a unit that is not divided or cannot be divided according to the types and kind of interests of the heirs. Also find the fact that customary inheritance law has elements that must be fulfilled, namely inherited is a person who has died and has property that is left behind and can pass to his family through kinship, marriage, or family relationship is an undivided or divided state. Heirs are people who are entitled to receive inheritance from the inheritant. Inheritance is the property left by testator to the heirs. Now that you understand all the things, what is the most important as an Indonesian citizen, because the principle is based on Pancasila to keep the family intact. This is the principle. The principle of customary law are: first is the principle of divinity and self-control. From the principle of divinity and self-control, if the inheritant leave property, the heirs must be able to control themselves, not to be greedy. The heirs must also want the heirs so that at the time of the distributions of the property there is no dispute. This is also to maintain harmony of life between the heirs and all their descendants, because the property owned must also be believed to be a property granted from God. Second is the principle of equality and joint right. From this principle of equality and joint right, each heir has same of equal position, where no one dominates each other. or is balanced in their right and obligation as heirs, so that the heirs do not only think about their property but must be responsible. Third is principle of harmony and kinship. From the principle of harmony and kinship, all heirs must maintain a peaceful and harmonious kinship. If problems occur in the future, the heirs must resolve the case with kinship first to maintain harmony in enjoying undivided inheritance and in completing the division of inheritance that has been divided. The fourth is the principle of deliberation and consensus. From the principle of deliberation and consensus, all heirs will divide the inheritance by way of consensus led by the elder heirs. In the deliberation, the heirs will discuss and determine how to divide the inheritance that is fair and equitable so as not to cause dispute between them. Fifth is the principle of justice and care. From this principle of justice and care, that the distribution of inheritance must be divided fairly. This also does not look at gender, both men and women. They have the same right as heirs who inherit inheritance. This principle also embracing care where the heirs must care for each other, so that no one is discriminated against from their gender. So guys, for now, you know what about customary marriage law and customary inheritance law. If one day somebody asks to you, just recommended this video, don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you. Goodbye.